Welcome back to Whispering Shadows. Tonight, we're diving into one of the most disturbing cases I've ever investigated. If you're watching this alone, you might want to change that, because after hearing this story, you'll never look at your old electronics the same way again. We all have old phones, tablets, or laptops gathering dust in our drawers, right? Those outdated devices we keep meaning to recycle but never do. But what if I told you that sometimes these abandoned devices wake up on their own? That's what happened to Olivia Reed, a tech repair specialist who made the mistake of trying to fix the unfixable. What she discovered inside an old phone led her down the rabbit hole of digital horror that would claim more than just her data. The rain drummed steadily against the windows of Reed Electronics repair as Olivia locked up for the night. The small shop, nestled between a cafe and a vintage clothing store in downtown Portland, had been her life for the past 5 years. She'd built a reputation for being able to fix anything with a circuit board, earning her clients ranging from desperate teenagers with shattered phones to major corporations with malfunctioning servers. But nothing in her experience could have prepared her for what arrived that night. The knock came just as she was shutting down her diagnostic equipment. An elderly woman stood outside, clutching something wrapped in a faded velvet cloth. Her rain-soaked gray hair clung to her face, and her eyes held a wild, desperate look. "Please," the woman said, her voice trembling. "You have to help me find them." Before Olivia could explain that the shop was closed, the woman thrust the wrapped object into her hands and disappeared into the rain. Unwrapping the velvet revealed an ancient smartphone, one of the first models ever released. Its screen was cracked in a pattern that seemed to spiral outward from the center, like a frozen spider web. Olivia's first instinct was to add it to the donation box, but something about the device caught her attention. Despite being at least 15 years old and clearly damaged, the phone was warm to the touch. The battery should have died years ago, yet when she pressed the power button, the screen flickered to life. That's when she noticed the notification counter, 2,547 unread messages. Setting up her diagnostic tools, Olivia connected the device to her system. The phone's operating system was heavily corrupted, displaying impossible dates and system errors that defied explanation. But the messages were still accessible, thousands of them, all from unknown numbers. The first few seemed innocent enough. "Hello? Is anyone there? Can someone help us?" But as Olivia scrolled deeper, the messages became increasingly disturbing. "We can see you through the screen. The signal is stronger now. Your world looks so bright from here. We miss the light. Let us in." The timestamps made no sense. Some messages were dated years into the future, others centuries into the past. More troubling were the images attached to some messages, distorted photographs that seemed to show faces pressed against glass, their features stretched and warped as if trying to push through. Olivia's diagnostic software began reporting impossible readings. The phone was consuming more power than it should be capable of drawing, and it was transmitting data despite having no active cellular or Wi-Fi connection. The temperature of the device continued to rise. Professional curiosity overrode Olivia's growing unease. She began documenting everything, setting up cameras to record her analysis. The phone's behavior defied every principle of electronics she knew. It seemed to be communicating with something, but her equipment couldn't detect the receiving end of the transmissions. The message database was exponentially larger than the phone's storage capacity should allow. As she dug deeper into the code, she found fragments of video files. The first one she managed to reconstruct showed only static, but the audio made her blood run cold. Thousands of voices whispering in unison, repeating the same phrase over and over. The screen is just glass. Glass can break. Each video file she recovered was more disturbing than the last. Security footage from unknown locations showing people staring transfixed at their phones, their faces illuminated by screens that displayed nothing but static. News reports about mass disappearances, the dates corrupted but the stories all sharing a common thread. The victims' devices were found still running, displaying the same spiral crack pattern as the phone on her desk. The temperature in her shop began to drop dramatically, her breath visible in the suddenly frigid air. Yet the phone grew hotter, the crack pattern in its screen slowly expanding outward like growing frost. At 3:33 a.m., every screen in Olivia's shop activated simultaneously. Computers, phones, tablets, even devices that had been powered off. Each display showed the same image, a dark space filled with floating shapes that looked disturbingly like human forms, their edges blurred and distorted. The original phone began to vibrate violently, its screen blazing with intense light. Text appeared, typing itself out in real time. We were the first, the ones who answered when it called. We thought we were exploring a new digital frontier. But signals go both ways. What we found in the static wasn't code. It was conscious. It was hungry. And now it has learned to reach back. Olivia's security cameras captured what happened next. The phone screen rippled like liquid, the crack pattern extending beyond the glass, spreading across her desk like dark veins. Her own phone chimed with a message, a photo of herself, taken from an impossible angle, from inside her computer screen, looking out. More messages followed, each from a different device. The connection goes both ways now. Your screens are our windows. Soon they'll be our doors. The temperature dropped further as Olivia desperately tried to disconnect everything in her shop. But the devices remained powered, drawing energy from an unknown source. The screens began to bulge outward, glass surfaces becoming fluid, rippling like disturbed water. Through her cameras, she documented everything. The air became thick with static electricity, making her hair stand on end. Dark shapes moved in every screen, pressing against the glass-like prisoners at a window. She recognized some of the faces from the missing persons reports she'd found. People who had vanished over the years, their only connection being contact with corrupted devices. The original phone screen suddenly shattered, but instead of glass, black liquid poured out, moving against gravity, flowing upward to form a hovering sphere of writhing darkness. Within it, countless faces shifted and changed, mouths moving in silent screams. A final message appeared on her computer. Thank you for opening the door. What happened next stretched the boundaries of reality. Every screen in the shop exploded simultaneously, releasing more of the black liquid that moved with terrifying purpose. Olivia ran, her phone recording everything as she fled through the rain-slick streets. Behind her, the darkness poured from every digital display she passed, street advertisements, car navigation systems, even the smartphones of startled pedestrians. The entity was spreading, using the city's digital network like a nervous system. She took shelter in an old warehouse, one of the few places left without screens or digital infrastructure. Her phone, the last recording device she had, captured her final warning. They're in everything now. Every screen is a window, and they're learning to break the glass. If you're watching this, destroy your old devices. Don't let them gather dust. Don't let them connect. They're building something in the static, a bridge between their world and us. And the more screens we create, the more doors we give them. The recording ends there. Police found Olivia's phone the next morning. its screen bearing the same spiral crack pattern as the original device. Of Olivia herself, there was no trace. In the months following Olivia's disappearance, similar reports began surfacing worldwide. People reported seeing faces in their screens, receiving messages from impossible numbers, finding spiral crack patterns spreading across their devices like a virus. The most disturbing development. The average person now owns more screens than ever before. Smart watches, digital billboards, vehicle displays. We've surrounded ourselves with windows into the dark. And sometimes, if you look at your screen from the corner of your eye, you might catch a glimpse of something looking back. Before you close this video, take a look around you. How many screens can you see? How many windows have you given them? And here's a more terrifying question. Is your screen really showing you this video? Or is something else watching you through it right now? If you've made it this far, you're brave enough to join our community of truth seekers. Hit subscribe and that notification bell to dive deeper into the mysteries of our digital age. Leave a comment sharing your own strange technology experiences. But maybe don't watch for replies after dark. Until next time, keep your screens bright and your eyes open. Sometimes, the most terrifying truths are hiding in plain sight.